You ever have one of those friendships that just fizzles out? No big fight, no drama. It just drifts away. It's a weird, confusing feeling we've all had. Well, today, we're going to dive into a new way of looking at our relationships that might just bring a little more clarity to that beautiful, messy world of human connection. Man, this quote from the thinker Queen Lala just hits home, doesn't it? It's the perfect way to describe that slow, quiet fade. 1 minute you're talking all the time, and the next, you realize it's been weeks, and you're just left scratching your head wondering, wait, what happened? And that's the question, isn't it? It can eat you up. You start second-guessing everything, replaying conversations in your head, trying to find that one moment where things shifted. It's like being in this weird social limbo, and it's not a fun place to be. This is such a powerful metaphor for the emotional energy we spend. Those flowers of adoration, that's our time, our effort, our texts, our vulnerability. And this quote asks a really tough question. Why do we keep pouring ourselves into connections where the other person isn't even bothering to water the plants? So, this is where Queen Lala's framework comes in and offers a totally new way to think about it. What if the problem isn't that a friendship failed? What if we were just using the wrong word for it all along? Let's get into this core idea, the big difference between a friendship and something she calls a timeship. Okay, so here's the breakdown. It's actually pretty simple. A real friendship, that's a two-way street. It's a mutual commitment, an active choice from both people to show up for each other. But a timeship, that's more of a seasonal thing. It was an awesome, meaningful connection for a certain period of your life, and then its journey with you was over, it sailed on. And honestly, this idea can be a total game changer. It means a connection ending isn't a failure. A timeship was just a really important stop on your journey. It served its purpose for a season. You know, seeing it this way can be so freeing. It lets you look back on the memory fondly without all the baggage of feeling like you were left behind. But wait, it gets even deeper. This isn't just about one new term. Queen Lala actually mapped out a whole journey for our connections, broken down into 8 distinct levels. Think of it like a roadmap, a guide to help us understand how we go from hello to becoming a part of each other's lives. And here they are, all 8 levels. Just take a look. It all starts with a simple meetingship, then moves through stages of familiarity, the timeship we just talked about, all the way up to friendship, romance, and even what she calls a tribeship. Let's break this down starting right at the beginning. So every single person you've ever known started right here in one of these first 3 stages. This is the origin story of every connection. How a total stranger becomes a familiar face, and where that little spark of potential for something more first appears. Let's look a little closer. Level 0, the meetingship, is pretty self-explanatory. It's that very first hello. Now, according to the framework, once you've run into them about 3 times, they graduate to a familiar ship. Think about the barista you see every week or that person from another department you always nod to. But the big jump to level 2, the timeship, needs 2 things. More hangouts, sure, but the key ingredient is feelings. That's when it stops being just a familiar face and turns into a real emotional connection, even if it's not meant to last forever. All right, now we're getting to the middle levels. And this right here is where things can get super interesting and, let's be real, super confusing for a lot of us. This is the fork in the road where a connection either becomes something solid and defined, or it just kind of hangs out in ambiguity. And there it is, level 4. The situationship. I mean, who hasn't heard this term before, right? It's that messy, gray area. It feels like more than just a passing timeship, but it's not quite a clear-cut friendship or a defined romance. It's that what are we status. Just being able to put a name to it is honestly a huge first step. And finally, the framework takes us all the way to the inner circle. These are the big ones, the connections that really form the foundation of our lives, the relationships built on deep love, serious commitment, and that powerful sense of belonging. So these last levels are our ride or dies. Level 5, the lovership, is that romantic partnership. If things get serious, that can grow into level 6, the committed ship, which is beautifully described as 2 souls as one. We're talking deep, lifelong partnership. And at the very top, level 7 is the tribeship. This is your family, whether by blood or by choice. These are the absolute core bonds in our lives. So after laying out this whole map of relationships, from a simple hello to your lifelong tribe, the big question becomes, what do you actually do with all this? How does this apply to your own life right now? And this is probably the most important thing to remember.
This whole system is not about slapping labels on people or judging a relationship because it ended. Not at all. It's a tool for you, for self-reflection. It's about giving yourself the language to make sense of your own experiences and to find peace with how connections naturally change over time.
Which brings us right back to that beautiful idea from the beginning. If you realize a ship has sailed, that a connection was a time ship meant only for a season, what do you do with all those flowers? All that love and energy and adoration you were holding? Well, maybe, just maybe, the answer is you finally get to give them to yourself.